Good morning. It's November 28th, and we're in Daniel chapter 5 today. And this is a terrifying chapter of the book of Daniel. It's where we get the phrase, he saw the handwriting on the wall from. And that's what happens here. King Belshazzar actually is having a banquet, and he's using some of the devoted things from the temple as part of his banquet. And eventually he sees a hand, a disembodied hand apparently, writing something on the wall, and it's something he can't even read. And so I think the first part of that, it's terrifying that you would see something like that, handwriting something on a wall, would be terrifying in itself. Then you can't read it. And then when you hear what it says, it's actually even more terrifying because when it's translated, this mene mene tekel parsin, it means you've been weighed in the scales and found wanting, and then your kingdom is going to be divided and given to the Medes and the Persians, and it's going to happen immediately. Can't think of anything too much more terrifying than that handwriting on the wall, and then what it actually means. When God summarizes your life and says you've been weighed in the scales and found wanting, especially after all the advantage that had been given to you in your kingdom. You've had Daniel amongst you. You've seen what happened to Nebuchadnezzar, and that story has been handed down to you, how God humbled him in his great pride, and now you follow in those footsteps. You still have access to Daniel, and you still haven't taken what God says seriously through Daniel to you. And so, because of that, you're going to pay the consequences, and it's going to happen that very night. And that's going to be his last. His last act is to have this banquet happening, and so you can imagine the impact that this must have had on those who were there and on those who would have heard this story as well. It's a time to take seriously what God has evaluated in your life, all the advantages that He has given to you, and then what you do with that. And so, if we also neglect the revelation that's been given to us, as the book of Hebrews says, then we neglect a great salvation, and we judge ourselves not worthy of eternal life. And that's what happens even with this king here, this mighty king who has all kinds of advantages in his life, and then turns away from the message that God is giving to him. His eternity is at stake and will be decided on that very night.